All right, Miles, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons here for a little bit. Look, this is a team coming off one heck of an offseason. Of course, we covered a lot of the moves they made in the free agent game. Of course, they had a heck of a draft as well. We talked about a lot of their great picks. But now we're in the mini camp window, the OTA window, and we're starting to see what the Atlanta Falcons are looking like getting ready for the 2023 campaign. A lot of the new additions, the rookies, the vets, they're coming together. We're seeing what this team's going to look like. And there's one new Atlanta Falcon in particular that looks ready to break out and emerge as a key force for this Falcons team next season.
Yeah, Nick, this Falcons team looks fundamentally very different than they did last year. You said it and hit it right, the nail right on the head. They made a lot of good additions this season, and I think the one that we're going to talk about today is showing just how smart and how savvy the Falcons have been in some of these pickups. But Nick, I want to ask the Falcons fans in the comments section below. They know this team in and out. They've been around forever, and they can see what is happening down in Atlanta. I think it's something special. So Falcons fans, in the comments below today, let us know, what are your under the radar takes about the Falcons? What are some things that you were seeing that nobody else is seeing, that the big time media is not giving them credit for? Let us know in the comments section below. What are your under the radar Falcons takes? Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video, hear more about our partner of the video, and that is Neuro. That give you some great products, give you a quick and easy boost of energy. We love to take their mints or gum right before our show to give us that edge, give us that boost of energy, give you the Falcons content that you love. So stay tuned to the end of the video to hear more about Neuro and their products, and get your hands on our discount code, the most important part. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get right into it. Who is this breakout star that is emerging for the Falcons?
Yeah, so the Atlanta Falcons, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, they got a lot of young guys, a lot of talented guys ready to make their name. Of course, Desmond Ridder at quarterback, Bijan Robinson at running back. But we're going to focus on the defensive side of the ball because, to be honest, my opinion, and I think the stats back this up, that's the Atlanta Falcons' most glaring weakness, and they did a lot to address that in the offseason. And there's one guy in particular that looks ready to break out and become to be a big-time star in the National Football League, and that is Kaden Ellis. Obviously, they picked him up from the New Orleans Saints in the free agent game. If you want to go ahead and pull up the report, Myers, from SI.com, I will read from it. Okay, in March, the Falcons lured linebacker Kaden Ellis away from the New Orleans Saints, signing him to a 3-year, $21.5 million deal that guarantees him $10.2 million. And NFL.com recently listed the 27-year-old on his all-breakout team for 2023. All right, directly from NFL.com's report, the NFL special teams standout created a buzz in league circles last season with his strong performance as New Orleans' third linebacker and emergency fill-in for Pete Werner. I'm sure Falcons fans, if you don't remember, Pete Werner, St. John linebacker, missed a lot of time last season towards the end of the year, so that obviously gave Ellis a chance to play and do extremely well. Ellis notched 6 of his 7 sacks of the Saints' final 9 games. That's incredibly efficient, showing the football world that he could thrive as a full-time starter. The former 7th-round pick could put up the kind of numbers that make him a household name by the end of the 2023 season. All right, Mike, so I know you've got a lot of the numbers to back up that this kid is incredibly underrated. His rating is off the charts when you talk about some of the stuff, so we'll take a deeper look into statistics before I hand it over to you. But I'm going to focus on what Terry Fontenot has done such a great job with the Atlanta Falcons. That's managing the cap. Because we always talk about it, right? When you have a young quarterback, you want to front-load rosters or front-load signing bonuses and roster deals to veterans and free agents you bring in, so that way when the quarterback is cheap, they're more expensive. Towards the end of the quarterback's deal, potentially a long-term extension, quarterback gets more expensive. You want to make sure the veterans get cheaper. And that's exactly what Fontenot did here with Ellis. If you look at his guaranteed money of this 3-year deal, all of the guaranteed money is going into 2023 and 2024. That's going to be Desmond Ridder's 2nd year and 3rd year on his contract. Obviously, at the end of his 3rd year, they'll probably decide if they want to extend him or not. That is outstanding roster management by Terry Fontenot, structuring this deal this way. Plus, Ellis is a heck of a player. I think he's going to be a dynamic force for the Atlanta Falcons defense, and they need it. Obviously, this defense is probably the only thing keeping from Atlanta from being a playoff team, most likely winning the division last season. Obviously, a little bit better quarterback play would have helped as well. But all right, Miles, that's my take on it. What do you got in terms of Ellis, in terms of the analytics and the stats, and what he's going to mean for the Atlanta Falcons defense?
Yeah, Nick, this guy was a pretty special player to have as a backup for the Saints last year. And he kind of came in around that week 9 section and showed that he could be a starter. He about averaged around 20 snaps a game prior to that. But week 9, he gets his first taste, gets about 39 snaps, Nick. This is where he tallies up his first sack. Then going from there, when he starts to start full-time, 80 snaps in week 10, 60, 70, 76, and weeks 11, 12, and 13, this is when he starts to get busy. You see 1 more sack, 2 more sacks, grading out as a 90.1 overall per PFF defensive grade, a 91.3 overall PFF defensive grade, 79.5, this guy starts doing really well in that middle linebacker role when he's getting full-time starting reps. And that is what is so impressive, Nick, because once this guy jumps in, he shows that he can be a starter in the league. He has what it takes, and he is a multifaceted player, Nick. He not only had an 81.5 overall PFF grade, but he had an 81.1 run defense grade, a 75.8 pass rush grade. And now you think run defense, pass grade, there's no way this guy can cover. Well, he had a 67.5 coverage grade as well. He could really do whatever was asked of him. And early on in the season, not much was asked, but late in the season, Nick, a lot was asked of him, especially when Werner was injured. So I think Kaden Ellis coming over to this Falcons team makes an immediate impact, and he can be all over the field and do absolutely anything that you ask him. So I think this is going to be a special pickup for the Falcons, mainly because A, you talked about it, the cap implications, they have him on a pretty good bargain deal for a guy who is so talented. And B, he can be the do-it-all guy at that middle linebacker role. He can do whatever the Falcons need him to do. So I think these are very crucial moves here to get this defense rolling. A weak point last year is now going to be a strength for the Falcons.
And one more thing people sometimes tend to forget is that linebackers are being used a lot more in the pass rush game, whether it's a traditional blitzing edge or a blitzing, kind of scheme, or whether it's off the edge. We see this a lot, of course. Micah Parsons, most famously with Dallas, got to start as, becoming a preeminent pass rusher from a traditional linebacker perspective. And Ellis's productivity in terms of getting sacks is something Atlanta really missed in 2022. They were second to last in the entire NFL in sacks. And that means it's one of those things. You can be really good at pressuring the quarterback, but you got to get him on the ground, because we're in an era where quarterbacks are extremely mobile. They can make all kind of great plays. We see it with Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, you name it, Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of great quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, and the list goes on and on and on. A lot of great quarterbacks who you can get pressure, you can flush them out the pocket, but they can still be insanely productive. You got to be able to get those guys on the ground when you get there. And Ellis showed last season he has the ability to do that. I think that alone makes him a bargain for the New Orleans Saints. And I agree with NFL.com 100%. This guy's going to be a stud for this defense and really flip them around in terms of getting sacks and probably their entire defense going into 2023. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.